Well, comic books, it would depend on which subject you were talking about. Even with something that I did grow up with and from an early age studied in that sense, like comic books, I still needed to do research when it came time to write The Amazing Adventures of Chabon and Clay. I didn't know everything. And there was a lot that I had forgotten, and there was a lot I couldn't have known because it wasn't known at the time, that had emerged in the intervening years. People wrote memoirs or interviews were given, that kind of thing. Usually, I mean, part of the reason, there's two things going on when I'm trying to write a novel, when I'm contemplating writing a novel. One is I'll sense that there's an opportunity to do research about things that I'm really interested in knowing more about, like chess or Yiddish, or comic books, or Prague, the Golem, Antarctica, you know, whatever it might be. And so part of the motivation for writing a book is that I get to just like watch lots of old movies, for example, because I decided John Garfield was a possible model for one of the characters in The Amazing Adventures of Chabon and Clay, just in his physical appearance, and that the character would actually want to be acting like John Garfield. He loved John Garfield, so then I had to see every movie John Garfield ever made, which was really onerous, burden. I didn't want to. I had to. It was for the research. But I also, you do want to. I mean, when you're writing, you become the narrator or the author. The author has authority, and the author has to exercise that authority and has to, almost in a way, not flaunt isn't quite the right word, but you have to reassure the reader from the first sentence that the reader is in good hands, and that the things that are going to be said, they may be lies, they may not be true, but they're going to sound really convincing. And so you have to there's a certain amount of imposture in the way of, like, you have to, if you're setting a novel in Alaska, at the Yiddish-speaking colony in Alaska, or in New York in the 1930s and 40s, which is a place that you've never been to or seen, it's kind of an act, and you have to front in a way that you've been there and you've seen it, and this is what it was like. I'll tell you just what it was like to wake up on a morning in September 1940 and open your window on 21st Street in Chelsea and look out, and here's what you see. And to do that, you gotta know a lot, and so that's where research, it sort of feeds my pleasure in knowing things, and it also is just a really required element of passing something off as true that isn't. And that is, definitely a part of what you're doing.